Hey guys, this is Stephanie and I'm Stacks on Stacks on Stacks. Today, I'm coming to you guys with my top 5 predictions. Now, I saw this on a few other people's channels, and I think I saw it on Prue's Project's channel, and I saw it on Sam from Thoughts on Tomes, and I might have seen it in third place. I can't quite remember. Basically, I went through my TBR shelf and a little more, and I picked out books that I predict are going to be 5-star reads. So it was funny because both of the girls were like, oh, it's a little difficult, and I was like, no, it's not. I mean, I could look at my shelf and I mean, everything's going to be a 5-star read, right? It's really not. There are a lot of books that I think I'm just reading because I think it sounds good. Like a book can be entertaining and that can be great, but that doesn't mean it's going to be a 5-star read. Or maybe it's a book that piqued my interest, but again, it may not be a 5-star read. So I had to kind of go through things and be like, what is going to be a 5-star read? I do have some books that aren't on my TBR that are going to be on this stack here because they're not on my TBR because I'm not planning on reading them in the immediate future, but I'm going to read them and I think they'll be 5 stars, just 1 or 2 of those. So the first one I grabbed today was Jurassic Park, and this is by Michael Crichton. This is one I'm probably going to be reading this winter, I'm hoping, and I am expecting good things. Oh, it's inscribed. It says, to Jim, I heard this was good. Let me know. Love, Noel. Oh, used books, huh? Most people know what this is about because there was a movie made about this. I have heard it is a really good book though, so I'm excited to read it as a book. Very high expectations. It should be a 5-star. My next 5-star read is going to be Poison Study by Maria V. Schneider. I actually started this book. I mean, I'm not very far into it, just like 3 chapters or so. And it's about a girl who's basically on death row, and this is like back in the era of kings and queens and such. And they say, hey, you don't have to be on death row. You can just be the king's poison taster. Food taster, taste the poisons, taste the rainbow, you know what I mean. And then they figure she'll probably die quickly, and then she's good at her job though, so she can taste a little poison and be like, no, not good, not gonna eat that, and so on and so forth. So I don't think that sounds like an exciting thing, but there's more to it because there's 3 books in the series. So I do think this will be a 5-star read. I've heard a lot of good things, and from what I have read, I did enjoy it. My next 5-star read is The Diviners by Libba Bray. I don't know a ton about this one. I know it takes place in the 20s, and it kind of is based around like the occult and that kind of thing. I do not like that they have done yet another cover. So there are 3 covers for this book. I'm like, really? Is that necessary? I've heard actually mixed things on this, but I think that I would enjoy it. I am nervous it's going to be a little dark for me. I don't always like dark books, and usually if I'm reading a book and it's kind of dark and I'm not liking it because I'm a scaredy cat, then I will literally just read it during the daytime hours. The problem with that is right now, it gets dark at 5 o'clock, so, you know, and I work till 6, so when am I going to read it? I guess I'll have to save it for summer. And then I will find out if it is a 5-star read. The next one I have is Codename Verity by Elizabeth Wen. Now, this one I expect to be a 5-star read, partially because it is a World War II book, and I am a sucker for a World War II book. And it is about a girl who is a British pilot, I believe. Her plane goes down in France, and that's about all I know. And a French girl discovers her, maybe, I think. I can't quite remember, but it's okay because I don't like to know too much. I have high hopes for this book, very high. I'll probably read it soon. Next one I think will be a 5-star read is Graceling by Kristen Kishore. Yeah, okay, I was doubting myself. By Kristen Kishore. Now, actually, my husband just read this one like a month ago, and he has been talking about it nonstop. He's like, it's really great, it's really great. And then he read Fire, and he was like, not as good. So I don't know if I'll continue in the series, but I do know I'll read this. I do expect to be 5 stars. We have not like the same taste, but similar taste. I would say he is more picky about books than I am. So if he likes it, I probably will like it. And if he's like, it's a 5-star read, it's probably going to be a 5-star read. Next, I have Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I will be reading this by the end of the year, which I'm very excited about. And I do very much expect this to be 5 stars. I know next to nothing about this. What I thought I knew, I said in a description, I don't know, a month or so ago. Then my husband read it and he's like, you are so far off. You don't know anything. And that's okay. I don't mind. I love going into book blind, so I'm completely okay with that. But I'm going to get this one read by the end of the month, and I have high hopes. 5 stars. 5 stars. I also am hoping to get to soon Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. This is the second book in the Six of Crows duology. I loved the first book. It was definitely a 5 star, so I'm hoping the second book will be a 5 star. I think I'm going to be buddy reading this with my husband, so I'm not sure when I'm going to be reading it. I do want to get to it sometime soon. I don't like reading books in a series too far apart because then I forget things and I feel like I have to reread books. And then I get mad at myself for having to reread a book when there's so many new books out there that I want to read. See how that goes? But I am excited to get to this one. I expect it to be a 5 star, just like the first one. The next one I have is Vicious by V.E. Schwab, and I am expecting this to be a 5 star. However, I am nervous. I was not crazy about the Darker Shade of Magic trilogy. I mean, I liked it. I think I gave it between 3.5 and 4 stars, but the way everybody talks about it, I thought it was going to be like a 7 star. And it wasn't. Like, when I gave it 4 stars, I felt like I was being quite generous. So I'm not sure what to expect of this one because I loved This Savage Song. I was okay with Our Dark Duet. It missed quite a bit for me. And then these 3 here were okay. Like, they were good, but they were just okay. And so I have high hopes for this one. I want this to be a 5 star. When I was looking over my stack of 5 stars, this was the only one I thought I could possibly cull from the herd. But I didn't, because I just want to have faith that this will be a 5 star and that I will once again fall in love with V.E. Schwab and all of her writings. Next, I have The Martian by Andy Weir. I have heard that this is funny, and I like books that are funny. I am a sucker for funny. If you can make me laugh out loud, I will probably enjoy it. So this is about a guy who basically gets stuck on Mars and his story of, you know, not dying. So I saw the movie. I loved the movie. I might do a book to movie on this one. I do want to read it sometime soon because I really did like the movie, and I've been told if you like the movie, you love the book is better than the movie, which is usually the case. So I am expecting this to be a 5 star because I would have rated that movie 5 stars. The next book I have is The Demon King by Cinda Williams-Chima. I've heard tons about this book and all the Cinda Williams-Chima books in the 3 series that I know about on BookTube, and then from people in real life too, which I don't have a ton of people in real life I talk to about books. So when somebody actually tells me a book is good, sometimes I'm like, oh, okay. And then, you know, sometimes it's been like, I read it and I was like, this book is crap. I just spent 4 days reading crap. And then the next time you see them, it's like really awkward because they're like, oh my gosh, did you like that book? And I'm like, oh, what book was it? Was it that steaming pile of poop? Is that what you're talking about? The poop book? But this one is supposed to be good. I am excited about this. I'm not sure exactly what it's about. I know that it is a high fantasy book in kind of a high fantasy world, and it's supposed to be wonderful fiction. I haven't been in the mood for like super detailed fiction. I might be in the spring. I was going to read it last month, but then I realized I'm not in the mood. So I've learned not to read books that I'm not in the mood for because then I give them very low rankings. Usually because I didn't want to read it in the first place. Next I have is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I have never read any Sarah J. Maas ever. Nothing. So I have heard a lot of things about this. I've heard a lot of good things. I've heard a lot of not so good things. I've heard most people do enjoy this first book. If not the whole series, they at least enjoy this first book. So I will go out on a limb and say that this first book will be a 5-star read. I do not know about the rest of the series. I do not know when I will be getting to this series. It's like I want to read it, but then as soon as I have the gumption to read it, somebody like starts saying, well, I just hated it because the characters are bad and I'm a team blah blah and you're a team blue blue and blue blues can't be the blah blahs. And I'm like, maybe I don't want to read this. So we'll have to see. Now, these last 2 are the only 2 that were not on my TBR, and that is because I do not intend to read them anytime soon, but I do intend to read them eventually. And the first one would be Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. It's such a pretty cover. I want to have pretty colorful hair. Is that hair? No, it's coming out of her mouth. So pretty. So I've heard great things about this from everybody who has read it. Most people have been like, I don't know what I was expecting because I read Mistborn. I loved that. And I thought nothing's going to be as good as Mistborn. But this one's pretty good. Now, I don't think anybody said it's better than Mistborn, but they've said it's pretty good. So that's good. I have no idea what it's about. I know the magic system has something to do with color. And that is about it. So yeah, it is a book that I definitely want to read. I am definitely expecting 5 stars out of the sucker. If I don't get 5 stars out of this, I will be surprised and disappointed. The last one that is supposed to be a 5-star read is going to be Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. My husband's dying for me to read this book. I told him I'd read it when the other ones start to come out. We will have to see. I've heard nothing but good things about this. I don't think I've heard anybody say, oh, that Brandon Sanderson, when he wrote Way of Kings, it sucked. Like, no, because nobody's going to spend this much time on a book that sucks. And I've heard great things about this book. So I am looking forward to reading it. I am expecting a lot. I expect 5 stars out of this bad boy. 5 stars. So that is it. I did scour my shelves, TBR and not, and I had this huge pile and I was like, oh my goodness, so many good books. But then I turn around and I look at all of these books back here and the shelf below and one right up here, and I'm like, really? None of those are going to be 5 stars? That's a little sad. So then I start wondering, why do I put books on my TBR if it's not going to be a 5 star? So I might also be culling my TBR sometime soon. I don't really know. I just really want to make sure that I'm enjoying the books I read. There's so many books out there. I do not want to read a crappy book. Like if I know a book's crappy or I'm like, this book's probably going to suck, I don't think I'm going to read it. I mean, we only have, so many days to live and so many hours in a day, and I want to make the best of what I have and I want to enjoy what I'm reading. So I think I'll stick to that philosophy. Go ahead and tell me down below what book that you haven't read yet that you would like to read that you are expecting to be 5 stars. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please, please, please leave a comment. I love it when you comment. Feel free to like, feel free to subscribe, feel free to share. I post videos on Tuesdays and on Fridays so you can see me then. I will see you guys later. Goodbye.